Go ahead.
Okay, I will. Happy New Year and welcome back. We are here to talk about leaning into your light. I am one of your hosts, Kimberly K. French, and I'm here with
Lorrie Urbaniak, your other host. Welcome and happy 2024.
Yay.
Everybody's saying it's so great to be back on an even year. I
Mm,
never thought about that, but I don't know
huh,
why. I've heard that several times this year, and I was like, let me think
an
about
even
that.
year. I've not heard that
Yes.
either. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
And
I guess that makes sense. I like even numbers, so it makes
me
sense.
too. Yeah. So I think it's maybe for the even people crowd that resonate with that a little bit more. Um,
I love that actually. So that's a great way to think about it. So
yeah.
it's going to be a great year because it's an even year. Whatever, works for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm good with that. Yeah, I think so. I'll take it. I don't know. 2023 was for me it was a year of a lot of internal release.
mm,
It
mm-hmm,
was which is not fun, but
mm-hmm.
you feel better. When
Yeah,
you learn to trust and know that it's all happening for there's a
mm-hmm,
divine plan that we're following. How was your
yeah.
2023?
A lot of the same. So I transitioned so much from like old Kim to new
Yes.
Kimberly. So I started out as Kim and I really embraced my full self as Kimberly K.
Love it.
And, you know, writing the book was transformational. Meeting business partners, you're such as a friend like yourself
Mhm,
and other
mhm.
people who are just like we're holding each other's hands
Mhm,
really deeply and personally to get through this journey to
mhm.
like elevate ourselves. And so last year was hugely transformational from that
Yes.
perspective of finding some of like my people I've got soul contracts with, right? Who like
Mhm.
showed up and was like, okay, we're going to get this shit done. Let's get going. Let's get going.
I love it. It's like you had to release. I always say you got to
Mm,
let go of the old to make room for the new. And
yeah.
once you do that and then trust that that new is going to fill right back up with really good, exciting stuff, it's
Yeah.
golden. Feels great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where when we're talking about the even year and, whatever you believe, that's the most important. You could
Yes.
believe like 2024 is like whatever your belief is like the thing. Like if you're going to believe like it's going to be a successful year, then it'll probably be a successful year. But if you believe like, oh, 2024 is here and it's going to be
Yeah.
the worst year ever, well, that's going to happen for you too. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so I say grab on if you think odd or even number of years are better than the odd, and this is the even number of years, so make
Yeah.
it the best.
Yes. Thoughts become things, right? That's it. You
Yeah.
have to you got to pay attention to what you're listening to. And like you said earlier, um it's like to me it feels like also embracing community this year because
Mm-hmm.
I've been
Mm-hmm.
hibernating for a few years, which I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I needed to do, obviously, because I did it. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
great, but that's not who I am. And I think it's starting to really bug me. It's like,
Mm.
okay, you did your thing, now get out of the house. So embracing community is really important to me for this year. Is something I want to do.
That's
Um,
great. So is that your
yeah.
word for the year is community?
It's actually surrender, but
Oh, okay.
surrendering the old, right? Maybe, and
Mm-hmm.
embracing newer things. Surrender, which leads to trust, which leads to, being guided and trust. So it's a path, I think, but definitely
Yeah.
community. I have missed that, and I just really shut myself out of it for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
it was fine. I needed to. Like, I don't know, like I said, hibernate, cocoon, whatever you want to call it, but I'm ready to break out of that now. Not sure how though, like how do I embrace community? Where do I go? Things
Yeah.
like that. So I've been looking online, like, ooh, that place looks cool. Maybe I could try um, to go to a class there. Or there's like
Mm-hmm.
salt caves. There's things like I don't know what that is
Mm-hmm.
exactly, but I want to try that. There's
Mm-hmm.
places that do more holistic healing. I mean, like, why not go get a Reiki session? Or because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really. I mean, I know of it and I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it, and I'm trained in it, but I haven't really gone um, to get one for myself. So And I
Interesting.
should say
Yeah.
I'm not really I was, in 2020 when everybody was like sitting there going, "What do we do?" I took an online how to be a Reiki practitioner course, so
Okay.
not really. But there's a woman here in town that she does them
Hmm.
quarterly. I think I'm going to go in person, community,
Nice.
meet some people. So I'm trying to think of ways to engage with finding your tribe, because I think
Yeah.
that's really important, where you don't have to explain yourself so much.
Mm. We know you and I met at a book conference a couple months ago, and when we stood in line for our alcoholic beverage at happy hour, we met each other, and it was a long line, so we had a long time to talk. And
Yeah.
so, and I think for me, when we met, it was like, oh, this woman's part of my tribe. And so you never
Mhm.
know where you're going to meet your tribe, and
No.
surrendering and being open to those places.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, I tend to like guard myself when I'm in a group of people because I just don't know, right? And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
being more open. And I went into that evening, I remember thinking, okay, I'm here alone. The person I was, I came to the conference with was busy. I'm like, I'm going to go. I'm just going to be open.
Yeah.
And this was the reward for me was this,
Yeah.
friendship that is budding.
Yeah, mine too. Because I've gone the last 2 years to that with my daughter, and she didn't come this year. So I,
Mm,
I, I was the same. I was like, "Ugh, it's a lot of people,
mm,
and I wouldn't say I'm an introvert. So I think I'm an omnivert. Like
hmm. Me too. Yeah.
if I need to be on in a group, I can do that. I haven't done that in
Hmm.
a long time, but I can. But I'm
Yeah.
also good just kind of sitting back and watching people. I love watching people. So I don't know
Hmm.
if that means I'm an introvert or I don't. I'm a Leo, so you would think I would want to like walk in and have everybody pay attention. Rawr, here's
There you
Leo.
are.
Yeah, but I kind of like. I can do that, but do I need to do that? Is that really who I
Yeah.
want to present as? No.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I love the way life unfolds for us.
Absolutely. Well, and also I do the same thing if usually I go with somebody and we kind of just stick to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was really a good experience not to have that this time because we both had our
Mm-hmm.
own agendas. We both listened to our inner guidance as to
Mm-hmm.
what needed to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. So,
Yeah, it
so
was.
what do you have going on for this year? So, as far as intentions, have you set any intentions?
Um, yes, I have. I want. Okay, so I told you earlier that I was like hibernating, and it was a
Hmm.
lot of internal work and emotional release and all of that. And I haven't been paying attention to my body. And so
Mm,
the writing that I've been doing and the journaling and stuff, it's like, okay. And it's not that I've been like abusing it or anything like that.
hmm.
I eat healthy, but I'm very disconnected to it. Like I don't acknowledge it and say, "Wow, you're pretty awesome. Like you're great." I don't pay. I just take it for
Hmm.
granted. Now I walk every day. I go outside. I appreciate that, but I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna just turn it up a notch or two, and really
Yeah.
pay attention to um, when I eat and why I eat. And I know I think this was the other time, but anyway, where you kind of really um, check in with yourself about eating. You pause a
Mm-hmm.
moment and you don't just unconsciously eat, which is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
really good at. And it's not that I overeat either. It's weird. I guess I'm a grazer. I don't sit and have like 3 meals a day. I was like, I don't even know what that looks like. I eat a little
Mm,
bit all day long. So
yeah.
maybe not. And the time that I did lose like 25 pounds was when I ate 3 meals a day that were
Interesting.
planned, that I cooked, that I bought
Planned.
exactly what it was, a meal plan thing. And it was like,
Mhm.
okay, here's your recipes for the week. And it was in 2020. It was right when everything happened. It was the first time
Mm.
I'd lived alone in like 30 years. And so without kids. Um, so I was like, all right, I'm going to cook for myself. And it made a huge difference
Yeah.
for me to do that.
That's, I think you just said it is planning for it. I think, you're
Mm-hmm.
listening to inner guidance, but inner guidance is about planning too. It's like,
It's,
okay,
yeah,
make a plan. Yeah.
right.
So that's my goal this year too. So my word of the year is play. I'm also going to
Oh,
surrender because I like that one, but I'm being really guided to like really connect with my inner child and love my
oh,
inner child because my
oh.
inner child, I think I've been reading more and more about our inner child is connected to our subconscious because that's when all of our subconscious is programmed is in our
Ah,
childhood,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to unravel your subconscious programming, get back to your inner child and start playing. So that's my
Love that.
year is play and
And
connecting with my inner guidance.
and how do you play? I mean, what do you have any ideas of what that even looks like?
I'm a person who doesn't play very much. And so this is why it's a really important topic for me. And so I'm entering a little bit like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But the basics, if I were to like to just shut my eyes and say, okay, Kimmy K, which is what my inner child's name is, Kimmy
Oh,
K, what what would be like nurturing for you? What would be playful for you? And I see myself dancing. So I'm really devoted to turning on Alexa. She's sitting right here, so I'm not going to say her name.
that's so
She'll be
funny.
talking to us if I say her name. But
Yeah.
in between meetings or in between creativity sessions, turning on some female empowerment songs. And I have a nice big
Yes.
space back here in my
There you
office.
go.
It's a little dance floor, so this is my dance floor.
That's
So,
so great. That somatic movement like that is it
mm,
so great. So great for
yeah, and
connecting. Hmm.
I also have the goal of fitness and well-being because writing the book last year, I sat on my butt way too long and it
Hmm.
spread a little bit. And I went through menopause a few years ago and I gained a few
Yeah.
some pounds then. So I'm
Hmm.
about 30 pounds away from where I was about 5 years ago.
Oh
And
wow.
I want to
Yeah.
get back to health. I'm not going to like beat myself up though, like I would in my 30s or 40s.
Oh yeah.
I'm
That
going to
was
love
awful.
myself to fitness and health and really connect with the things I love to do. I mean, I think this
Hmm.
year is about play, love, and surrender. And
Love
I'm so
yeah.
excited for 2024.
I know. I know. I am too. I feel good about it. I feel like the I closed the chapter on whatever
Mm,
the hell I went through the last few years.
yeah.
Um ooh, it was I was telling my friend, I said I cried more last year than I have in like 25 years.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like it was just awful. Like journaling, I would just cry. I mean, but it was good because I hadn't cried in
Yeah.
like 20 years. Literally, I hadn't
You
cried.
needed to.
Yeah. And it wasn't like
Yeah.
out of control crying. Well, a couple of times, but most of it was just like tears. Like, okay, I'm gonna feel
Mm,
these tears and let them come out. And ugh,
hmm.
it was rough. Um, so yeah, I hadn't cried in since my girls they're 26, so I hadn't cried since they were like 3, 4-ish, 2, 3, 4. I haven't cried
Mm.
then.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
A lot of pent
mm,
up tears. So what a
yeah,
great opportunity to let them go, though. I mean, I think I love that piece that you just let yourself do it and just let
yeah.
it all pour out. And that's like surrender. You started surrender in 2023, 2022. It sounds like.
I did. And maybe it was before like I had to raise 4 kids by myself. I can't walk around crying.
Mm,
I
mm-hmm,
can't take care of myself in that sense when I have all
mm-hmm.
of them to take care of from,
Yeah,
cooking, cleaning, paying bills, the house, the mowing, the getting the leaves out of the gutter. Like, I mean,
yeah.
A to Z, it was me. And so when did I
Mm-hmm.
have time to cry? Like, and what was I going to do? Cry in front of them? Oh God, no, um, have to be responsible and so I just shut everything in a box for a really long time. And it was time. It was time to
Yeah.
let
I
it.
think that's a common story too. I think a lot of women resonate with that because when you're raising your kids, you want to be super mom. You have all these
Yeah.
responsibilities. You have like you have little beings that depend on you. And you take most moms, there are some
Yeah.
that don't, but if you're a good mom, which I know you were, and I know I am,
Yeah.
we take our role very seriously. And then when they're grown up and they're like my daughter's a teenager now,
Mhm.
but she needs me a whole lot less. And so even I'm looking at like, well, what do I do now? So I've
Or wait
got
till they're
this.
adults, and then you're like, okay, I totally have no idea. Are you friends with them? Do you go out? Like, how do you interact with
Yeah.
them as adults when, especially when they're partnered up and married and stuff? It's like,
Hmm.
how do I squeeze in there anymore?
Yeah.
I don't
But then
know.
that's really more important to build your own life, like what you're talking about. Like
Yes. And I did,
building.
yes, I did lean on them. They were my
Yeah.
friends, for a long time. It was
Yeah.
always us doing stuff. And then it was like, oh, even as adults before they really partnered up, I would go to the movies with my boys. I would go shopping with my girls. Like, it was like a family
Hmm.
thing. And then it was like, it's
Yeah,
different.
no, because things change. They mature and don't need us. And so, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, it's like, where do you find your adult friends? We found it in a line at a
Yeah.
book conference, right? And
Yeah.
you've got to grab those moments, even though we live in totally different parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for Zoom.
Yes.
20
I
years ago,
know.
we wouldn't have had
We've
this. We'd
been
be on the
writing letters
phone.
to each other.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ancient forms of communication.
Yes. Yes.
But finding
Yeah.
those.
It's hard. And I work at a yoga studio one night a week, as a seva to get free yoga. But I
Mm,
work and all of the people there, they're younger, a lot of
hmm.
people are younger than me, but they're like, in their mid 30s, late 20s and stuff. And it's interesting because they're my friends, but to be
Hmm.
friends with people that age that aren't my kids, it's
Hmm.
interesting.
Hmm.
Um, so that's great to have that community, but that's Thursday nights. Like, I don't, there a couple of them you could kind of, depend on, but it's nice to find people that are in my age group, too.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah,
um,
definitely. Well, we've got a
yeah,
lot of exciting things happening in our life. And so as I get older, right, and you've written 3 books, right? I've written a book
for,
and 4 books. Oh my gosh, yeah, awesome. I forgot
yeah,
that there was a fourth one there.
I'm almost done
Um,
editing it. Yeah.
oh, sweet. Is this the
Yeah.
nonfiction?
No, this is the fourth in my series. And then
Oh,
I'm
nice.
headed over to nonfiction, I
Nonfiction.
think. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm getting more and more passionate about like women like us really like grabbing hold of a piece of the pie, if you will, like
Mm-hmm.
building wealth for ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
putting ourselves out there, which is uncomfortable because we didn't grow up in the social media age. We grew up in a totally different age.
Yeah.
But embracing it, I'm embracing it and I'm having fun with it because I find it as play right now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't used to. Like the last 2 years, I was deathly afraid of it. I'm like, I don't want my face on screen. I don't want to be attacked. I don't want to, people to say blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I'm letting all of that go now too, because, there
Good.
are always going to be those people.
Yep.
But um, taking, women such as ourselves and becoming independently wealthy, I'm really interested in that. I'm exploring that a whole lot more.
Ooh,
So,
that's a
yeah,
great concept. Why not?
why not?
I told you, like, my books, I have spent probably, the fourth one coming out probably March. I've spent probably 5 minutes on marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I was just not having it. I was like, no, I don't want to tell anybody. I think I was telling this story before. In my when I was in a yoga class and one of my friends was teaching, and I've always been fascinated with people who write books. Just always like, oh my gosh, when I tell people I write a book and they don't say what it's about, I'm like, okay, because if someone told me they wrote a book, I'm like, oh my god, tell me about it. What is it? How
Mm-hmm.
do. Anyway, so she says in yoga class one night, oh, hey, we have a new author in the class today. And I'm looking around like, oh, who is it? And she's like, it's you, ding dong. Like, what? I was like, oh. So I have not embraced being an author at all.
Mm. Is that
And
something you want to do?
yeah, I think I do now. I think I
Mm.
do. And my daughter's my editor publisher, and she's just like, tell me when you want my help, like I
Mm.
will help, but I'm like, oh, and I
Mm-hmm.
think was I telling you? I can't remember what I was telling you, but one of my friends, yoga studio people, whatever, buy my book and they buy it and oh, I got your book. And the first thing I said I'm sorry, it's not very good. What the hell?
Oh, I bet she's amazing too. I bet she's amazing.
I don't know if it's amazing. To me, it's funny. Like it's a funny series. Like it's kind of a.
What's the title? What's the title? What's it about? I have to buy it still, yeah, because we just met, and
I
a few
still
months
I'm
ago, I
like
need to.
it's called
This is going to be good for you.
this oh still okay. The series is called The Henchman Training Academy, and it's funny to me, right?
Mm,
Because this idea came to me like I was watching a movie and I'm like, where do you find these idiots that work with the bad guys and
mm.
they are willing to die and they're stupid, like they're very like there's collateral damage all the time, like they're big dumb guys that make mistakes and they kill people for no reason. They walk in and they shoot all these people and they're like, what, you didn't have to do that, right? So
Mhm.
I'm like, first of all, where do they find these guys? How do you find a henchman? So I created this whole thing of you know how this kind of normal guy who's sort of like my sons, who went to college, played college football, and he's a naturally big guy, like a henchman,
Mhm.
and how he ends up being kind of taken in by this henchman house, and how
Mhm.
his college education, he thinks, well, they're henchmen, they're idiots. I went to college. I was a captain of the football team in college, and but he f's everything up as a henchman because he
Mm.
doesn't. There's 5 rules to being a henchman. He does not follow them, and there's an outside threat, the OT, who is
Mm.
this little cyber guy that is pissed off that they took this guy into their organization and not him. So he's like
Mm.
trying to get him all the time, like he calls him the precious prince of, and he's like always after him, trying to get him, and kidnaps him, blah blah blah. But so it arcs where he's an idiot and he can't be a henchman, and there's like no training program. Like the training program for a henchman is you get a suit, because you got to wear a suit, and here's your gun.
Mm.
That's it. So he's like, what do you mean there's no training? Like, I don't know what to do. He's a little anxious, this guy, big guy. And so after several mess ups, they're like, you're grounded. Like you can't do it anymore because you're an idiot. Um,
Mm.
and so they put him in, and he creates a training academy for henchmen.
Mm.
And
I love
so,
it.
yeah, so he creates the Henchman Training Academy, and then there's other I don't know, things that happen, and anyway, they
I
yeah
think that's a great premise, and it sounds like an amazing series.
I know.
And I just want to also say a shout out here because somebody from Netflix, a friend of yours, is wanting to introduce you to Netflix to make it into a series. So it must not suck, is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I can talk about it I could talk about it for hours because I had so much fun developing the characters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, yeah, long story. It's to me it's a funny premise, and so long story short, the genre was really hard for me because I was like, I don't really know what it is. It's not.
Mm.
It's not. I mean, it's humorous crime. Well, what the hell is that, right? And so it was really
Mm-hmm.
hard to kind of because now I learn like write to a genre, not
Yeah.
write and then go where do I plug it in. And so I
Yeah.
think that was what was hard with me for the marketing. So I think
Sure.
I'm just gonna do humorous crime and see what the hell
It
happens.
works.
And
So I just got done watching Good Omens on Apple. Have you ever watched Good Omens?
mm-mm,
So
mm-mm.
it's an apocalyptic comedy,
Oh,
right? So,
okay.
right? So apocalyptic
It come.
comedy, they don't go together,
No.
but humorous crime is the same damn thing. And they made this amazing, forget the author. I can see his name, but I don't always know how to pronounce it. But anyway, um,
Love it. Yeah.
he put it together, and
Okay.
he's an Apple. He's huge, and it's just like a huge thing. Apple. No, it's not Apple.
Good
I
Omens, you
saw
said?
it.
I'm gonna write
Yeah,
it
I
down.
saw it on Amazon Prime. Actually, Amazon Prime created
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, so he creates this training academy. I won't get into the whole thing, but because he was an insurance salesman before this, he gets them all health insurance and stuff and life insurance. It's funny.
health and life insurance for the henchmen. I love
And
it
he makes
because
them go to like yoga classes and meditation, and it's funny. I mean, to me, it's
I
funny.
think that's a great premise. And it's like, I never thought of it, but when you look at these like shoot 'em up and they always have the henchmen and they're always just so willing to die and they're getting paid nothing, right? It's like, oh, okay, I'll
Right.
die for you.
I know. And so my friend that I'm trying to pitch this to and learn from, his thing is you have to have like a kind of a universal theme. Like, anybody
Mm,
can go, oh, that's what that's about. I understand that, right? And so
mm-hmm,
my universal theme with my books here, I keep pointing over there because I have the covers and frames, and I'm like,
mm-hmm,
there they are. And this is something that bugs the crap out of me. When henchmen have been around since basically beginning of time. There's always been
mm-hmm.
henchmen, right? And they've
Yeah.
always been the same kind of guy. They've always done the same kind of job. And I say, my thing is, why are you doing something like this? Because we always have. That's not a way, that's not a reason. And so that's why they created the Henchman Training Academy, because henchmen had never been trained before. They've never gone to
Mm,
school. They've never learned. My analogy is that Matt is the protagonist, or protagonist, says, I play college football. I was a defensive tackle. So I learned how to be a really good defensive tackle within the team. I didn't go to the quarterback
mm,
meetings or quarterback films or the running back or the
mm-hmm,
kicker. I went to my specific team's training. So that's how we're going to set up the academy. There's specific things that you can learn and be really good at, instead of
mm.
here's your gun and go whatever, and be sloppy and reactive. That's the thing they're trying to take away. There's no more reactive henchmen. They learn how to talk things through. So
God.
that's why it's funny, because you're taking something old and making it new and modern
Yeah,
and changing the
yeah.
way you do it,
They're
which is
getting a conscience. They're actually human being. You're making them human
yes.
with
And
a conscious.
they have a small debrief after they kill people or whatever, and then they lock it away. They're done. And
Hmm.
so
Are you gonna have any of them wake up and
yeah,
try
they all
to?
do. They all go to
Oh,
yoga classes, and they all like get more
but wake up to not
emotional.
kill anybody, or they're
Oh
always gonna kill
yeah, no,
somebody.
they're trying. They're
Oh.
trying. Like, they don't just pull their guns and start shooting. They will, but they
Mm.
also want to you know talk things through. And one
Mm.
of the guys that he's kind of scruffy, who I really ended up liking his character. There's an incident at the DMV in book, I think 3, and it could have gotten really ugly, but he talks his way out of it
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't just shoot up everything. And I
Oh
was like,
wow.
see, you can do this. So it's different. So that's my
Yeah.
my universal theme is, because you've done something the same way doesn't mean that
Yeah.
that's the right way. Think outside the box. Anyway,
I love it. So this is the year of surrender. I think
yes,
you talk so passionately about your book.
I know, but
So passionately about your book, and you love it. You obviously love the books, and they're your children. So I'm going to say the same thing. I've worked with some of my clients about bringing out their true talents, and you've already brought out your true talents, but now it's like owning it in the public
yes,
space, right?
yes.
Because other people are going to benefit from these stories. So, like, how can I support you in really taking this gift out and sharing it with more people?
Yeah, I think what I thought about the other day is I am going to put it on the calendar,
Mm.
like marketing time for my book.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on
Yep.
my schedule, because it was far from that. And I know that going on TikTok is free and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
take that long. Just takes a little
Mm-hmm.
planning, a little guts.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just do it. So I
Yeah.
might, I've had this whole TikTok thing running in my head. I just,
Oh my gosh, do it. I just
yeah,
got on TikTok and it's so easy and it's so kind of fun. And you could just get, look at other authors out there. There's
yeah.
other authors out there, a minute and yeah, I can
And
see you so successful doing that.
I think it would be fun. I just have to commit to it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's the other piece of what I want to do this year, is to like get out from behind the shadows and say, I wrote these
Mm,
books. Here they are. The people they're for will find them, and whatever
mhm.
else happens. But these are,
Do you have fans that you connect with? I bet you have some fans out there. Any
oh
reviews on
no,
Amazon? No?
I don't think so. Maybe one. I
All right.
seriously, it's buried. Like
Hmm.
I just put it out there, and like I did this when I put it out there, hit okay, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my poor daughter's like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you do? Like, why?
I saw this as a common theme. There were 2,000 people. So people listening, there were 2,000 people at this book conference. They were all authors.
Hmm.
And a lot of the people I spoke to talked about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Some people have written 15 books and still haven't putting them out there.
Oh gosh.
It's like, wow. But it is so hard because I hit send for mine. So I did a nonfiction book and it's all about my own personal journey.
And
And,
that's so brave. Sorry,
oh,
so brave.
and I used my real name. People are like, you used your real name?
Oh, when you said that, I was like,
That
oh my God.
and I'm
And
like,
it's
I didn't
about
know
your life, and you said I in the book. Oh,
that. I think it's a pretty good book, right? So
it is. I've read it. Yes. Yeah.
and people are telling me it's a good book. And it's helping people. And that's what the intention is, right? And I think your books are going to help people even wake up to themselves because you're like teaching in a funny way in a genre that people want to read, right? It's like, oh, well, if the henchman can wake up, what the hell am I doing with my life? I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. And I have to say I'm proud of myself for the growth as a writer.
Mm,
From the first book, which was crap, because it just was. I mean, it's
mm,
hard. You don't
mm-hmm.
know your style and all of that. And I'm not a grammatical person I'm a good writer, but the commas and the whatevers, I'm like,
And that's what editors are for. Grammarly is
right,
for that. AI is for that anymore.
right. Well, but my daughter, I tried so hard this fourth book. I was like, hearing her words, like, this is, say this, say, show it, don't tell it. Like, I was going through and I was like changing the way I was writing. Like, I was trying so hard, and I was like so proud of myself. And I was like, "Oh, Kaylee, I think I learned some stuff. I'm so excited for you to read it." And she still edited the crap out of it. And I said,
Mm,
she's like, "Oh, you're so much better though. Like, it's not that you aren't, but I'm making you a better writer now."
mm-hmm.
And like there's something on every page, And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's developmental editing. It's like, she'll ask a question like, well, who's they? Or how did they get there?
Mm,
Or,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's really thoughtful. It's not mean, like, this is stupid, doesn't make sense. It's like, show how they got there and this and
Yeah.
that. So it's been really such a great learning experience too, that
Yeah.
I've learned to sort of write a little bit. And you know, they're they're probably, I mean, I'm thinking of all the words I've written. I mean, I'm at like, over 500,000 words at this point. So
Wow.
that's kind of
Wow.
cool to think,
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to read it. And however I can support you this
Oh,
year
thanks.
in taking that out, if that's what your inner guidance is telling you, because I'm all about inner guidance, like listening to inner
Yeah.
guidance. But I see you light up, and I also am really like invested in people's souls' messages to themselves.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
when you light up like that, I think it's your soul telling
yeah.
you it's time, right?
Yeah.
It is time.
Yeah. You're
So
right. So maybe that's this year to surrender leads to, like, who gives a crap? Just put them out there. The right
yeah,
people will find them. Giving it some
yeah,
energy too. I haven't given it any energy. And I think
mm,
that's important to give it some energy.
yeah,
It's like I did this task, and every time I have a couple of minutes, I'm like, oh God, I got to edit or I got to write. That's part of who I am now, and not like, give it some energy once it's done. Like I have this is the three of them. I have them sitting here, like
mm.
I did
They're
this,
beautiful.
and this is, you page through. I'm like, oh my God, I wrote all of that. And
Hmm.
I should be proud of that, more proud of that. So,
Well, you
um,
are proud of it, but you just don't necessarily want everyone to know about it yet.
that's right. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
well,
just
when you're ready, because I work with like business strategy, and you and I could talk about it here, and that would help people, right?
yeah. Well, I
That
can
would
be
help
your
people
little
because yeah,
guinea
no,
pig.
I mean
Yeah.
it's like I have so many ideas for you right now, and I know you've got a publisher, for a daughter, but I'm like, I have so many ideas for you for like Patreon and local
Oh,
bookstores love local authors, right? All
yeah.
you got to do is go to your local small bookshop and say, can I do a signing here? And they'll be
Oh,
like, absolutely. I have one coming up this month. It's my first
mm.
one.
Oh, good for you.
It's the local like hotspot to have your book signings at. And yeah, that's coming up on January
Are you going to
29th.
talk too? Like stand up
Yeah,
and talk?
talk for
Good
20 minutes and tell them a
for
little bit about my
you.
story and the book. But that's where it
Ah,
starts,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. My daughter wrote a book and she freaking did that. She
Mm-hmm.
emailed and said, I want to do a book signing. They're like, what day? She's like,
Yeah.
oh, October. Okay, great. And she must have had 40 people show up and she's an
Yeah.
introvert. And she stood up and she talked about her book and and I was like, at that point I had 3 books. I
Huh.
was like, why didn't I do that? You big
Well, you still
chicken.
can. You
Ugh.
still can. It's never too late. And now you've got three, so it's like people love series. They love
Yeah.
series, right? But
Well,
also
and
Goodreads. Go out there and start interacting with people and your genres, and oh my gosh,
yeah. Okay.
that's where book lovers go is to Goodreads, right? And go see what they're saying about other people's books and how to like connect with people who might be interested in yours.
Okay.
Anyway, I've got all kinds of ideas.
Woohoo! Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to come out of the shadows with those this
Yeah.
year. I think
Well, I'm
it's time.
excited for you.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks.
so I think it's time to wrap up.
Yes.
Before we go, let's just talk about our intentions. Like I've got the intention for my health, and it sounds like you do too.
Hmm.
So maybe we can be accountability partners and we can talk about it here. It's like how
Yes.
people older than 50, older than 40, what do we do? And
Yes.
I'm going to go do some research, bring it back here. And
Okay.
actually, I know what to do. You do too. Whole foods, move body more, and love yourself. I mean, those are the
Yeah.
three things. But
Yeah. Check
I'm going
in
to go
with
find stuff that
yourself.
support that.
Yes. Good. Good. I love it. Okay. Well, have a great week.
You too. And we'll see
Thanks.
you back here again next week.
Yep. Sounds good. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.